Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about cars and trucks and motorcycles and dogs and tractors. Hey, what's going on over there with the John Deere tractor? Why is it out in front of my yard today? Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the channel this morning. Appreciate the support and subscribers. Share the channel. And what am I doing? I'm starting to get motivated here to get my garden all cleaned up, and that's a freaking project. And the tractor last night, daughter's riding around, getting all the debris out of here, cleaning things up for the spring season, and the thing died. The battery died. It's hard for me to believe that I bought that tractor 3 years ago. And yeah, battery life on these tractors, 3 to 5 years. I guess, I don't know, kind of weird. But yeah, let's go. Come on, let's get over here. Come on, get to the barn. Yeah, I'm going to be home a lot more this year, it looks like. And so it's about taking care of the property. And last year, because of time and everything, just not being around, just spending time with family. It's not easy managing family time and business time. Everybody knows that story if you're a working individual in the world and have family that lives somewhere else. So, oh my good, crime of the day. What is the crime of the day? Born a crime? Trevor Noah? Anybody heard about Trevor Noah, who lived in the apartheid there in Africa, and his mother and father were opposite color, and he was born a crime. Yeah, up there. Looks like a military jet. Come on, pups. Let's go. Yeah, so crime. Come on, pups. What's going on? There's one getting lost over here looking for the bunny rabbits. Looking for the bunny rabbits. Hey, there's the Jeep Gladiator and the Raptor, and the kid just loves the Mojave. This is a great work vehicle for my company. Even I second guessed myself getting rid of that two-door Bronco, but you just couldn't do much out of that two-door Bronco. Just too compact, too small. That's perfect, and the kid loves it. Here we go. Here's my project. And did it turn out okay? I don't know. So I taped this thing down last night because it feels good. Wow. Yeah, that's good. She ain't moving. Well, last night that thing would move a little bit. If you watch my videos, this is my new rear spoiler for my race truck, and I showed a how-to video. And yeah, that's solid. Yeah, that's awesome. So that glue, that caulk set up. Oh man, left my window down. Any birds living here tonight? Yeah, so that's awesome. So I got my new spoiler for the F-150 cab. And I was going to do my power boost first, but then I kind of did a video of this, and people were saying, do this. And I agree. Should have put it in the barn, but you know what? I spent so much time cleaning this vehicle the other night. You put it out in the barn, put them out of the barn, and this time of year, the debris and the pollen and just trashes it. Got to get my thing here. And where's the dogs? Hey, come on, pups. Where's all the dogs? Right? It's always about the dogs. Yeah. Come on, Ginger. Oh, there she is. Hey, Willow. It must be Willow. That's the lost one here. And so yeah, so you're hearing the word crime. Are you hearing the word crime? Word. I don't watch the news per se. Yeah, do I have the news on? Fox Business News? Yeah. But do I just sit there and watch the news? But oh my gosh, did anybody ever hear the word crime? Indictment yesterday? Did anybody hear those words yesterday? How many times yesterday did you hear the word crime? That's the reason I'm talking this morning about, hey, let's have the conversation. The theme is crime. Because all I'm hearing on TV, it's just maddening, sickening. Who's that guy? Hey, Willow! Where is my other dog? This just, the dogs, he's a crime. Come on, let's go. Get in the barn. Get in there. What are you doing? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Move it. Come on, get. Come on. Yeah, so anyways, the theme of the day, morning conversation. Hey, you like my John Deere hat? Got my John Deere hat. Got a new John Deere mug. Drinking coffee for the first time all this week. I'm like, I want my freaking coffee. All right, pups. Come on, let's go. Can we get these things in order here to go round and round with me as I go round and round with the phone to get nauseous and get seasick. All right, get up here. Left the windows open last night. It's just a beautiful time of year. There's the pool. Will I get that thing back in working order? Last year I just gave up on it because I just wasn't home. That's a project. No heat. No heat today. And so let's sit down here and from drinking coffee, probably. Oh yeah, I gotta get this here without hitting my coffee. Oh yeah. All right, gee whiz. Projects, and that's what I did. I worked last night on my property until it got dark. Getting the property back in order because I just kind of ignored it because I travel so much. It's so challenging. You know, people be like, why don't you just pay somebody to take care of property? And when I have to pay somebody to sort of take care of my stuff, I'm out. I'm done. I mean, I'm not lying to you. The day it comes and I have to pay somebody else to take care of what I can do, I'm out. I'm selling the property. I'm selling the company. I'm done. That's who I am. I'm just, yeah, you know how many people have redo things, clean their house for them, the maids. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. If you're a maid landscaper, you got a beautiful job because in this area here, there's so much money out there. I mean, in hindsight, when I was younger, I was really right there in high school. I worked at a landscaping nursery, not knowing at that young age, in 11th grade, that I could have gotten a nursery business and I could have, or I should say the landscaping business, and made a bloody fortune if you do it right. Yeah. Did I have a clue about that? No. There's a John Deere. So, yeah, anybody knows about landscaping, you get the right yard maintenance contracts with people. But anyways, so this morning, it's all about the crime. And you know what? Amazingly enough, I can actually say I've been part of a crime with one of my cars that I sold to Coons Baltimore Ford. You may have heard this story before, but for those that are newer to the channel, maybe you want to hear a story again. But here's the thing. The crime, it seems like crime is a dominant conversation, a dominant statistic, a dominant problem. I mean, more than ever. Could anybody here on my channel that's been around for a few years, could you honestly say that at this point in your life in this country that crime is the most challenging thing and that it's at its highest levels we've ever seen in modern times? I mean, I think so. So for the cars, 2020 statistic is 840,000 or something like that. It's 800,000 car thefts in this country. And for 2022, they're speculating it's 900 and maybe 30 to 50 million. So it's growing. And what's interesting is the crime of the cars spiked dramatically during the pandemic because so many people had parked their cars and weren't driving their cars. So it became much more of an easier target. Isn't that interesting? Who would have thought of that? So during the pandemic, the car theft rose substantially because of just people not using their cars. So I guess it'd be, I tell my daughter all the time, these Challengers and Chargers that I have, to go and drive those around and park them in a consistent place, they're gone. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. If my daughter was to go to the same place day in, day out, and park that car out in the middle of a public parking lot, over time, it's gone. In fact, I'm surprised, but I do believe it. Washington, D.C. is like second in the highest car theft crime sector of the country. Wow. I used to do a lot of business down in D.C. I totally pulled out. I mean, I pulled out. I'm just now just a little, just like right on the line in Maryland and D.C. And I just so got out. Because I just knew there was just so much. Just no thank you. You think I'm going to take my Gold Rush Challenger downtown D.C.? You think I'm taking those cars in D.C.? You kidding me? Hijacking, man. You've been at a light. You're in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. The right guy's walking around. He's going to come over and put a gun to your head and take your car. Yeah, it's going to happen. What's going to happen to that person? Not much. So it's just incredible on how the car. It was so incredible with today's technology. The cars more than ever. You would think it wouldn't be as easy for them to steal the car, but the thieves know how to deactivate the GPS or the tracking or whatever you want to call it, the design of these cars. But what's interesting, though, is the Ford truck, like the F-150 truck, is the most dominant stolen vehicle in the country. The Honda Civic's number 2, Honda Accord's number 3. Goes on the list. Dodge trucks way down there. And then it doesn't talk about the Challenger or Chargers or the Mustangs because they're not the dominant product in the market. I mean, how many F-150 trucks do you see driving down the road? How many Honda Civics and Honda Accords do you see driving down the road? Yeah, you see the Mustangs and Challengers, but it's just a ratio of numbers to what the most dominant thing is that are going to entice people to steal the car. But the other thing that's really interesting about this as well, the reason the crime and car theft is skyrocketing is because of the used car values. Yeah, so the pandemic-related challenges that created the car automotive manufacturing challenges, which we all know that story, this created these inflated prices for used cars. So it's even more attractive now for somebody to steal a used car because they can get even more money for it. So it's even a whole other driving force. Wow. The crime among us. I mean, wow. The crime among us. I mean, just here's the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, beat out Paul Villas. He's more of a progressive guy. 2 Democrats ran to replace Lightfoot over there, and you hear that story, and it's just more of a progressive, far left agenda to more of a moderate agenda, but the far left progressive agenda won with Brandon Johnson. Yeah, so for the cars, in order to bring that up, this is a crime. Who hasn't heard the stories of Chicago's crime and all the inner cities and everything else? But here for me, here's a personal experience of me on my cars that I have. And as everybody knows, the Dodge Challenger and Charger, that product brand is an easier car to steal, sadly, even though there's technology out there to put in your Challenger and Charger through Mopar to kind of update it and make it a little bit more secure. But anymore, Jesus Christ, somebody wants something bad enough, seems like they'll get it. So for me, you go back to the summer of, I guess, summer 2020? I just can't keep track. Or 2021. I think it was the summer of 2021. I ended up trading my Dodge Charger Hellcat for a GT350. Why I did that? It's interesting. Well, that was the summer of me getting rid of a lot of stuff. Yeah, that was the June, July, and it was all about the debt. So it was all about swapping debt for a lesser debt and blah, blah, blah. And it was all about I lost my GT500. Yeah, that's what kind of drove that. That's So in June of 2021, the pandemic had done such financial havoc to me and my company that I finally raised my hand and I started selling all my nice stuff, let go of all my nice cars, and I let go of my GT500. So, yeah, that's what spurred it. So I was up at Coons Baltimore Ford, just up there at work, and went by. And sure enough, I got a really nice GT350, barely driven. It's just a nice car. And I just thought to myself, well, maybe this is the way I get my GT500 back. For the immediate future, I'll get a Shelby product again. So I came to closure to buy that car. And I traded my Dodge Charger, white Dodge Charger with the stripes on it. Really good looking car, narrow body, wasn't a wide body. And it wasn't the red eye package. And so I traded that for that car. And now it's the weirdest thing. I'm in Florida. It's like 2 weeks later. I'm in Florida. And I get a phone call from Coons Baltimore Ford. And a gentleman says, hey, do you have the 4th key? And I'm like, what? This guy goes, hey, you're Dodge Charger. Do you have a 4th key? I'm like, I don't even know really who's even calling me per se. I said, look, the Hellcats don't get 4 keys, they get 3. They get 2 red keys and 1 black key. The red keys are full power keys. The black keys, the 500 horsepower valet key. I think it's funny. Like 500 horsepower and that Charger, you still can't have a lot of fun. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, right, with a supercharger on it. So, anyways, I'm like, well, what's going on? And the guy goes, the car's gone. I'm like, what? And so sure enough, the car was stolen. So Coons Baltimore Ford, and I really felt bad about that because I'm good friends with the general manager there that oversees the dealership. And in hindsight, I should have hammered, you guys better put this car inside the store. You better put it inside the store. If you leave it out in the parking lot, it's gone, especially up in that Baltimore area. And so sure enough, yeah, that Dodge Charger was stolen. But come to find out, it was an inside job. It was a salesperson that participated in this. They have video of the guys in the hoodies literally getting into the car with no problem, and then taking the car. And so through a lot of internal investigation, they can tell every time somebody pulls a key out of the drawers, you have to enter something in. Well, apparently the guy wasn't too smart. He pulled that Charger key as he pulled a used car key. So that sales guy, he went in to go get a used car for a test drive, supposedly. And when he's in there, he took one of the keys for the Dodge Charger, which now he had full access to the car. So, which then the people got the car with no big deal to get into it. Wow. And the guy, ended up being just a shady sales guy. And he actually did a lot of other bad things at dealership. He was let go, but was he ever persecuted? I don't know. That's the whole thing about they talk about it. It's only 17% actual prosecution of the car theft. So it's a very low rate of people actually get caught and are prosecuted, and they just continue to do what they do. So it's a very, very small, and I get it. It's a police force. It's just like for my car got stolen, it took them, I think, 2 or 3 months. They finally found it in Chicago. Yeah, the Dodge Charger Hellcat finally was found in Chicago. Wow, amazing, right? I wonder what stories that car had after it got stolen. Of all the antics, all the places it went, not even legal, going down the road. I mean, you just think to yourself, what plates did they have? Those cars are not run the police if you're in the right area. So I guess whoever had it, they were hauling tail. They had the cops on their tail. Oh, that'd have been so cool if I was in a YouTube video with my old car going down the road, doing these police videos, the chases. Oh, that would have just like, wow. Hey, there's my old Charger, man. Yeah. So unfortunately, the Coons guys, they were really, you could definitely feel that was a hard hit. That was like a hard hit because, yeah, you just don't put these Highline cars up in areas because it was way on the other side of the parking lot near the capability to get it right out of the dealership, no problem. It wasn't close to the building. It was way up. They should have put it up way up next to the building or had a car blocking it or something. But anyways, yeah, the crime of the times. Anybody go to buy a car lately? Do you feel like you're involved in a crime? I mean, come on. Does anybody here feel like we're this automotive industry isn't just an all-time crime of what you're being charged to buy a car? I mean, really? I mean, is it just... And then it's at an all-time high of everybody that bought these overpriced used cars that are now finding out they're buried up to their eyeballs in negative equity because they were part of the crime. Yes. Wow, the car industry. But you hear these reports about all these cars that these car dealerships are just suffering big time. And I don't know. I mean, it's just is it pre-pandemic? I really think the car dealerships are just back to pre-pandemic sales. The RV dealerships are just back to pre-pandemic sales. I mean, it's so misleading of how information is given to us. Being that they try to compare, they're trying to compare apples to apples. How can you do that? The crime of the century we all witnessed was everybody getting to sit home and get paid. I mean, and it's still ongoing. Interesting how that the laws by the government oversee the states, not totally, but the states have their own laws on how people can get paid to be, out of work. And apparently Newt Gingrich back, I guess, in the 90s, he signed a bill that was a pretty good bill. They claimed that in order to receive your welfare, you had to, your unemployment, you had to prove that you were going out to try to get a job. Well, apparently that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, apparently now you can claim unemployment, but I could be wrong in this. I'm just sharing information you kind of read, but it makes sense because so many people don't want to go back to work, and apparently you can claim unemployment without showing proof of having to go try to get a job. Now, is that factual? I don't know, but apparently the laws changed after the pandemic came in to help others that were in the pandemic mode. So, oh my goodness, a crime. What is a crime? How many people haven't felt like they're not when they get the bill from the service department for your car they worked on, that's a crime? I mean, come on. How many stories are out there where the person takes their car and he gets serviced that they think they're going to, have a $200-300 bill, and then it's $1,200 later? The husband or the wife or whatever it may be, and in the service end, deliberately kind of massaged so many things to be done that didn't have to be done. Yeah, and you feel like you're a victim of the crime. I mean, who hasn't had that happen, right? Yeah. So yesterday, all it was about the crime. That's the only reason this morning, believe it or not, I really had no real in-depth content to talk about this morning. It wasn't until I woke up this morning. Yeah, I literally jumped in the shower and I was like, man. All I heard all day yesterday, all you heard was crime, right? And so for me, I was just like, wow, that's a really good theme, because more than ever in today's society where we are, crime is at the forefront of everything that's involved around us at this point. I mean, if you think about the inner cities, crime at the highest level. If you think about the stores that are, you see these videos of the mob, tons of people going in at one time and robbing the store of all its goods and walking out, dancing in the streets, and to the point that many retailers have pulled out of many cities because they can't control the crime, and the LEO can't control the crime. So, and the district attorneys, they can't control the crime. So, best thing to do is just bail ship and get the heck out of the areas that have too much crime and don't support it. That's Chicago's big thing right now, is the amount of crime that's up there and the amount of vacancies of businesses that are leaving. And this guy, Brandon Johnson, that's been elected, he's anti-adding more police. This guy, Paul Vallis, he wanted to put 1,000 more police in the streets of Chicago. And Brandon Johnson, he wants to put 200 more detectives in the streets. So, and then he's more on the page of mental health. But they talk about the school education side. He was a school teacher. He's part of the school union. And they don't think he's going to do much to change the really sad, low statistics of the Chicago educational system of underperforming students, of getting to understand how to read and, and the other just basic stuff in life. So in that aspect, they don't think he's going to change anything. He's not going to fight his own union, his own, brothers and sisters that supported him. So they don't think he'll do much to change that type of atmosphere. So, but anyway, so the crime, you think about the crime upon our borders. I mean, all we hear is that the crimes that are being happening every day by the droves of illegals coming into our country, because it is a crime to come to this country illegally. But I mean, at the same time, that's just it's just like a circle conversation of the border crossing and the illegals coming in, and then the drugs, the fentanyl drugs, incredible crime, and all the death of all the people that are taking fentanyl that don't realize that the dose of fentanyl they think they're taking isn't. So the person that gave it to them is, in so many words, created a criminal act for the death of the person that got that drug from them. But where's those convictions? It's so weird. You see around all these deaths of these people, and you don't ever see anything per se in the news of the people that get caught for selling these illicit drugs that are totally just bad stuff. I mean, so it's just weird. Now, it's just the media machine just seems to be. Is the media machine participating in all the crime? I mean, in so many ways, is the media machine more than ever in our society participating in the crime? I mean, does it support the crime? I mean, your local, news stations use you out in the streets reporting the crime and stuff like that. But when you get to the big networks of MSNBC and Fox and CNN, all that, I mean, are they just supporting the crime? I mean, there's the agendas that are talked about, the positions of one side versus the other side. You know, what is a crime? I mean, at some point, you just start thinking, what is a crime that really needs to be persecuted versus another crime that just kind of gets to pass? And that's what's going on right now, more than ever. So many feel like that, you know, there's a crime, but the one side thinks, you know, it's just malarkey, but the other side thinks it's, you know, the real deal, and the crime has got to be, you know, punishable. Yeah, the crime among us. I mean, more than ever, does anybody have video surveillance of their property? Do they have the Ring doorbell? More than ever, has somebody applied for a concealed license for a weapon? More than ever, is anybody carrying pepper spray with them? More than ever, are people getting dogs to have security? I've been thinking about that. Actually, it was kind of it involves the wife, where it kind of turns into the opposite views, somewhat, but not the same. Years ago, I used to ride around with a Dalmatian on my trucks. When I first got going in my business back in the 90s, I had a dog with me all the time. And the reason I had a dog with me all the time, because the dog would be an awareness factor as you're working outside of your truck, and also, to a degree, an intimidation factor. And I was telling my wife last week, now with my daughter part of the business, and she's out and about, and I get to thinking, you know, would it be advantageous to maybe get a dog? And the dogs I have right now, the big poodles, there's no way. They are not domesticated. They're going to bark at every frickin' thing they see, and they're just too big and furry and stinky. Now, the other ones, the Wheaten Terriers here, yeah, I don't know. Is that really intimidating dog, even though the one dog does have some big-ass teeth? He's actually one that's more aggressive than you might think, and even for me. So for me, it's like, do I get a dog for the business, where for the crime potential? Because more than ever, I mean, the attitudes, I live on the road every day, and it's just incredible, the behaviors that are just so incredible. People drive so freaking fast. People are just so abusive to the laws of the roads anymore, that they do just incredible maneuvers and behaviors. Yeah, and even though there's a lot of police out here lately really kind of cracking down, but there's just so many. There's no way. It's just they just pick and choose who they can get. But tell you what, yeah, if you're here in the state of Virginia, it can be a criminal conviction. Ask me how I know. It gets rattled. State of Virginia, you get caught doing some really bad things in your driving behaviors, it can be a criminal conviction. Yes. Yeah, criminal charge. Yeah, this is radical stuff, state of Virginia. If you're going like 20 miles an hour over in any posted speed limit area, it's a criminal charge. Yes, it's a misdemeanor. And if you're caught doing 100 miles an hour, yeah, it's definitely a criminal charge. It's jail time. It just depends what lawyer you get to get you out of the antics that you've pulled off. You know, ask me how I know. You know, I know these things. So for the people that drive around their cars and think they're immune to having to face the consequences of their driving habits, remember you're taught when you first get your driver's license, having a driver's license is a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege. Okay? So the state can take away your license. Does this happen? It sure does, because usually you're taken away because you've committed a crime. I mean, how many people have heard the stories of the person killing somebody, you know, involuntary manslaughter from the actions of their driving? And, well, what's that one new quarterback or new football star, rising football star, I think, that was in a drag racing, like his friend, and his friend got killed or something like that? I mean, I'm not really abreast of all that. Hey, what about, change off a little bit, what about Lamar Jackson? Wow, Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson has like a guaranteed $34 million deal, and he's basically a free agent in so many words, and he wants a Deshaun, package that I guess Cleveland gave him, and he's looking for the big payout, but nobody's biting. Wow. Lamar Jackson has no agent to represent him because it's money, But at the same time, if you get an agent to get you a $400 million deal, the guy gets 80 and you get 320, you did okay, didn't you? I mean, you know what I mean? Versus he ends up negotiating a deal for $200 million, $300 million. I don't know. So interesting. Lamar Jackson, Heisman Trophy winner, most valuable player in the NFL, incredibly talented guy. But what you always hear you talk about Lamar Jackson, the number one thing you'll hear come out of people's analysts' mouth is he was injured. He's missed a lot of time playing from being injured because he is the skittle scattle. He's the guy that runs all around the field throwing the football, and he gets hurt. And what I tell people all the time is if you're an offensive lineman and you're having to frickin', block the defenders and all, and you got a quarterback behind you that moves at rapid speed, the speed of light, where the heck is the guy where you can try to figure out where you're trying to block a guy from hitting him? 1 minute, he's behind you on the left. The next minute, he's way over there on the right. I mean, it's just too confusing. So anyways, just trying to change up the conversational there. I just read about the third day. I kind of forgot all about that. Lamar Jackson. It's that no team is at the moment really jumping up and down to take him. So interesting times there, in Baltimore. And I kind of think that too is Baltimore City, the crime rate. I mean, anymore. Does anybody here hesitate to go into like inner cities? I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious. Does anybody now think, oh man, yeah, I would go to Chicago in a heartbeat? Yeah, and I guess just like anything, it's parts of the town that, you're fine, but then there's parts of town that you're not. But interestingly enough, I mean, is that kind of changing the demographics and the business model, which we know it is. We know that so many businesses have closed shop and left because of the crime. And how do we, and here's the thing. How do we get the crime to go down instead of continue to go up? I mean, there is a challenge. I mean, what's the right answer for that? And the people that want more police, their position is, but that's not the answer. It's a mental health issue. So it's more about the mental health challenges versus the police challenges. So there's a total divide on how you handle the crime in our inner cities and crime in general. And then the other thing is that you hear talked about is a lot of these new district attorneys aren't imposing the criminal offenses, and that a lot of cities and states have changed the guidelines for what's a real crime, and they've raised the bar so somebody can do more things and get away with more things and not have to go to jail and have a criminal offense against them. So there's like a whole other conversation. So you think to yourself, less police, less enforcement of the laws, less criminal charges, higher bar to be able to do things and not be charged. I mean, wouldn't you just think those things through? Just like, what if you were told this morning there'd be no police? All the police are striking today, and there's no police monitoring the highways today. What do you think the highway system would be doing? I mean, sincerely, if you heard today that there's no police enforcement on the roads, no police enforcement, and that word got out, what do you think would start happening? Oh, well, during the pandemic, I witnessed it because I was a business that couldn't get shut down. So I was able to still go from state to state, even though at one time I thought I would be able to get into Maryland. But yeah, they wouldn't be able to stop me because I was a business that was open and had to be continued to be open. And so I didn't have any problem continuing to get around. But I witnessed all the antics on the roads. I mean, it was unbelievable. I would see people go down the road 100 miles an hour. And I would see them go by a police officer 100 miles an hour. And the police officer wouldn't do anything because they were, we know the initial stages of the pandemic, people were scared and the police didn't want to find out that you had COVID and they get COVID. So the antics on the roads. Now, am I going to self-incriminate myself and tell you what I did? Of course not. It was a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. And I just had gotten that GT500. I'm going to tell you what. Wow. Wow. It was great times.
Here's the thing. During the pandemic, it was such a fine line of what a blast because the roads were empty and I could get around. And I mean, it was so much fun. I'm not lying to you. It was incredible. And yeah, now back to reality where the traffic has increased substantially in this area again, but it's still not what it was, but it definitely is getting back to, somewhat the numbers, but still so many people remotely work from home and as all these landlords and all these office buildings are going broke, which, yeah, that's the next story. Anyways, all right, what other crime could I talk to about, the cars? Yeah, like I say, I think anybody right now that goes to try to buy a car, and now with the interest rates, so what they're saying is the 5%, 5.25% Fed rate is going to happen this year. It's no doubt. So the 9-10% interest on cars, I know there's federal credit unions, but for the average person, the 9-10-12% interest rate, 15%, that's where it's all going. Which that's huge interest when you pay on cars that you just can't pay down that debt. So there's so much interest being applied to the car. And years ago, they used to have loan programs where you paid a majority of the interest right up front, which they banned those type of loans. Which, yeah, they would just factor in. You're just going to pay all the interest up front so the bank gets all their interest money out of the deal. Then eventually you start paying down the actual principal of the car. All right, everybody. Hey, I think that's about it. Plenty of projects. How does the spoiler have to get some more video of the F-150 race truck spoiler with the tape off of it, the look to it, and then now I've done it and I feel much more confident of what I'm doing, or do I? I'm going to order one of those things for my Power Boost, and they're not that expensive. I can't remember if that thing was $80 or $120. I don't know. I'll have to go look up the Ford accessory. But go to my how-to video on the Ford F-150 spoiler if you want to see how I put that on. And I was totally green on what to do because there's no instructions on how to do it. I just kind of used basic mechanical instinct to do it, as you witness it fly off my truck as I go down the road, right? Yeah, when it gets to be really cold out, the adhesive didn't, stick properly. Yeah, that's when it usually flies off. Not on a hot day. Yeah, that would not be comforting seeing that thing fly off, especially if you're a motorcycle rider. Yeah, when you're a motorcycle rider or something comes off somebody's car, woo, wow, yeah, that's extremely dangerous. Yeah, what about that motorcycle riding time? Jeez, I tell you, man. Yeah. Challenges. So anyways, everybody, thanks so much for watching my channel. Appreciate the support, nice comments. Hey, share the information. I don't put all these little things on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. I just don't do it. My position is if you like my channel, you'll know to subscribe. I mean, why do I have to bribe you to subscribe to me? Whatever. I mean, yeah, I know there's a gazillion other people out there begging you to subscribe to their channel. That's not who I am. I just hope that you make content that draws people to the channel. And there you go. If I don't, then there you go. That's just the way it is. Don't pay people off to participate in your channel. And yeah, is that a crime? And so many aspects, how people get creative on that, right? I don't know. Who knows? All right, everybody. Once again, thanks for watching my channel. Stay safe, stay tuned, and God bless. And have a great day.